What's up, guys? Welcome back to the HCP podcast. As always, before we get into everything, make sure you are subscribed, hit that notification bell, and let's get into a week slam-filled with upsets. We got just complete dog water opponents coming out of these week with wins. Don't know how, but let's start off with Thursday Night Football. I said that I wouldn't be surprised if Los Angeles came out with a win here, kind of sort of a bit of an upset, and they did. 30-27. Mariota tried to come in, and he played really great. I believe he was like a top 5 fantasy QB. Marcus played fantastic. He looked really good too, surprisingly. And it looks like he might be taking the helm over there in Las Vegas. But LA coming out with an impressive win here. Las Vegas, I believe, has a really tough. Yeah, they have a big matchup here this week against Miami. So it's looking like Las Vegas could get knocked out of the playoffs, especially. So do you think, especially with how big of a win this is, do you think that a loss here to Miami would pretty much ruin their playoff hopes?
Yeah, I think even they would be mathematically eliminated because I think them and Miami are on the bubble. I think
Yeah.
Miami's not on the bubble, but them and someone else is on the bubble for
I want to
AFC.
say Ravens maybe are on the
I
bubble
think it's
still.
the Ravens. I think it's the Ravens and the Raiders. So if Miami does get the win here, I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, if Miami loses, they have a good enough record, and especially I believe their opponents that are remaining aren't that hard. But yeah, a big week coming up here for Las Vegas, and Marcus is really going to have to carry them to the playoffs. And then let's talk about the game. I said this is going to be the proving game for Mike McCarthy, and this was one of the better-ish games, I guess. It was kind of close towards the end, and then we just ran away with it. 41-33, Tony Pollard having an insane day. I didn't expect him to have this good of a day, but I said this is going to be the game for McCarthy to prove that he's a good coach, or at least a serviceable coach. And he played well. He coached our team very well. Offense looked great. Defense played fantastic. Finished as the #1 defense in fantasy. Never thought I'd be saying that this year. We're now second in the NFC East, so we'll see how that really rounds it out. But San Fran officially eliminated from the playoffs. What do you think San Fran, especially going into the draft, what do you think San Fran really needs to target this season? Because I feel like they really just need to start over. I don't like Garoppolo. I think they need to find a future with Garoppolo, but not really this season. What they need to do is they need to find a way to move on from Richard Sherman and not let it hurt their future, because Richard Sherman is not going to be there anymore. So what about you?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe some sort of defensive pick, maybe a lineman, a corner, or safety or something like that, because they have a great O-line. They have a ton of talented running backs. And, I mean, they have a young receiving core that's getting up there. So I don't know about your take on Garoppolo. I think he's their guy. I think he'll be there for a while. So I think they got to go with defense here in the first round. That's going to help them the most.
I think, if anything, probably just go for a cornerback. But, I mean, hell, with if Cowboys keep on playing like this, then our draft stock could just drop down, and maybe San Fran's looking to take a guy like Patrick Surtain Jr. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting watching how they rebound from this horrible season filled with injuries. And then the Jets, they managed to win, and they still managed to take an L at the same time. The Jets 23-20 LA. What are you doing, bro? I literally said last week y'all are one of the best teams in the league with how good y'all been playing. Then you lose to the Jets. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. Nobody's good. No team is good. How do you let the Jets beat you? And you're not even the biggest bozos of the week. But, I mean, Rams, really just Akers, he got injured at the end, right?
Yeah,
he got injured, which really just put the dagger in for fantasy owners. But, man, this was just a rough game from LA. You got to help. I mean, how do you rebound from this? How do the Rams rebound from this?
The Rams, I mean, I think everyone has a bad week. I mean, I know it's the Jets, but, like, I'm not going to go too far down on the Rams because of that loss, but I think they're still a great team. But the Jets, man, you missed out on a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. So that's...
And now I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, okay, so since we're not getting Trevor Lawrence, we're going to get Justin Fields. I've seen a lot of people say that they should draft high on O-linemen and stick with Sam Darnold, but I'm just like, why would you stick with Sam Darnold?
The gap between Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence is like...
It's humongous.
Trevor Lawrence
is I still feel like Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Sam. I feel like there's tons of quarterbacks in this draft that are going to be better than Sam Darnold. Even though Sam Darnold's young and he really just hasn't had the type of offense around him to develop, I like Fields better than Darnold. I don't know Mac Jones, but I like Zach Wilson better. It's really interesting coming in and to see what Jets are going to do now, because Hell, I mean, Jags are not going to let go of that first overall pick. That's for damn sure. Which that's also going to be something interesting, seeing where Minshew ends up. It's gonna be weird. He could go somewhere. Pretty much, I see Minshew going anywhere that Carson doesn't. Pretty much, but yeah. And then the next game, a huge game from Jalen Hurts this week. Couldn't get the dub though. Cardinals scratch out 33-26. Really a great offensive performance here from Jalen Hurts. He's the future of this franchise. There's no other way to put it. These two games, Carson Wentz has never been able to do in his life. That's just as simple as to put it. He didn't turn the ball over this game. He played phenomenally. 338 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns with 63 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Gotta give Jalen Hurts my offensive player of the week. Absolute stud this week. Really just revived this Eagles team almost, even though they're still the worst team in the NFC East. Jalen Hurts, bright future over there in Philly for them, especially under Hurts. What about you?
Yeah, I had to give it to Jalen Hurts after that performance. He's so much better than Wentz. It should have been, the move should have been made a long time ago, and at least it's paying off now. Carson, you got to get out of Philly, man, if you want to have a starting job, because that's Hurts' job now.
Yeah, and I've seen people's like, if he goes to Indy or if he goes to New England, will he go to his 2017 form? I don't think there is no going to his 2017 form, because when you look back at that team had one of the best defenses. It has remnants of a great defensive line that they still have, but also they had Malcolm Jenkins, some good cornerback help out there, and safeties, of course, being anchored by Malcolm Jenkins. But also their offensive line was like one of the best that the league has ever seen with like Jason Kelsey, Jason Peters, guys not getting injured pretty much. So there is no returning to that 2017 form, because that type of team isn't going to form again anywhere else. I mean, except for the Colts. I mean, the Colts have an amazing O-line. But yeah, I just don't think that's going to be returnable for Carson. But yeah, Jalen is definitely the future for Philly, and Carson needs to get out of there. And then let's talk about the greatest team to ever exist, the Bengals. Thank you. That was the greatest thing I've ever watched. Pittsburgh, you suck. You guys are absolute trash. You realize that, right? You beat a team that we blew out. I mean, you got beat by a team that we blew out. The Bengals. Ryan Finley, right? It wasn't even Brandon Allen. It was Ryan Finley. Giovanni ran all over y'all, dude. Pittsburgh, you're trash. You shouldn't even be in the playoffs, but you're not going to get past the first round. I can't believe people thought you were Super Bowl contenders. I saw people saying that the Steelers were going to blow these guys out. Y'all lost by 10 to the Bengals. Please, just hit the reset button. Big Ben, don't come back for another season, because you're going to ruin your legacy. Deontay Johnson, learn how to catch a ball. You have like 13
he did good last night.
He did, but like I saw on the first drive, he had 4 targets on the first drive and dropped 3 of them. Once again, that's not good. Juju, TikTok boy, get cracked, bro. You suck. Claypool is the only guy on that offense I feel like is productive. And even then, sometimes he comes up short. This Pittsburgh team is not good. Don't know how many times we have to say it, and we're just being proven right every single week. What do you got about it?
Yeah, I'm glad the Steelers lost. I had my defensive player of the week is Von Bell, just because of that hit. I mean, rejoice around America. We all wanted it, and it finally happened. And I mean, Von Bell was talking about it. They asked him in an interview about it. What do you think about Juju dancing? And he was like, it's disrespectful, but we'll show him what's up, or something like that. And it happened. I mean, it's a great game by the Bengals. The Steelers, you got to get those offensive virtues fixed, man, because they're just, you got to get better on offense. The defense played pretty good in the first half. A lot of the scores from the Bengals came from Big Ben turning the ball over, or Juju turning the ball over, and they just took advantage of that field position and went ahead and scored. But I don't know. Steelers in the playoffs, it's not looking good. You guys are going to have to buckle up and get ready for some good teams and see if you can beat them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just, I can't believe Big Ben is still returning. I couldn't believe that, especially after this game. I can't believe Steelers fans still want him to return. Not only that, your running back situation is horrible. James Conner looked good for like 5 weeks, and he's been trash since then. He didn't even play last night, but you need to get better running backs. I feel like that's what they need to focus, especially when it comes into the second and third round. Get yourself a running back that you feel like you can develop, because your situation there is utter crap. And then let's roll into my defensive player of the week since he just said his. I got Patrick Queen. I wanted to put just the Dallas defense as a whole so bad, but I didn't want to be biased. There wasn't a lot of great singular performance here, but Patrick Queen shined. A great all-around defensive performance there. It's against the Jags, but still, they had a pretty good performance against the Jags. I believe it was like 6 total sacks, like 6 or 5 total sacks against them. Queen, though, 6 total tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and 1 sack. He's going to earn my Defensive Player of the Week this week. And then a couple of topics coming out. Atlanta, I believe, has been officially eliminated from the playoffs for a couple of weeks now, and stories have been floating around saying that maybe Matt Ryan isn't going to be there for the future, and it doesn't seem like it because draft boards are starting to predict that Zach Wilson is going to go to Atlanta, or Mac Jones, or that guy from Florida. I can't remember his name. But, yeah, I mean, do you think this move from Atlanta is right because they fired Dan Quinn and yet they're still blowing big leads? Do you think they need to focus on what really matters, and that's building upon a very weak secondary, or just look for the future and get Calvin Ridley his QB for the future?
I think they both play into account with Atlanta because the secondary is what's losing them the games. Because I mean, we saw Antonio Brown just burn them for that touchdown, which really changed the momentum in that game. I mean, it was Tom Brady playing against the Falcons. He is known to come back against the Falcons, but the Falcons just you got to get a better secondary first, in my opinion. I don't think Matt Ryan is too much of a problem right now, but if they do end up getting a quarterback, and he'll learn a lot from Matt Ryan. But I think the secondary is the biggest problem of the team. I think you got to help it out.
I think if they do end up wanting to go for a new QB, then I don't see them keeping Matt Ryan. So if they do end up drafting a QB, it would be very interesting to see where Matt goes because hell, if I'm Indiana, I'm wanting Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz. Or if I'm Belichick, hey, you beat Matt Ryan. Especially if you could, but it'd be very weird to see how it all goes out because this is a surprisingly stacked quarterback draft class this year. And not a lot of people know, but last year it was wide receivers. This year, I think the only receiver I know is Jamar Chase, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. And then Green Bay. Let's talk about Green Bay real quick. We keep on going back and forth about who was the NFC favorites. For the longest time, we said it was the Bucs, then it was the Saints, then maybe it was the Rams. But quietly, Green Bay has continued to have very good win streaks. They've just not let up against certain opponents. They've beat great opponents. They've taken, I believe they're like 12-4. I think I can't really. They're looking like they're getting close to that. So yeah, Green Bay is probably the NFC favorite. Honestly, they've quietly been the NFC favorite throughout the entire year, and I feel like, especially with their play, they've kind of asserted that, and they've kind of drawn that out, kind of that gap between everyone else to where no one's really going to catch them when it comes to that favorite matchup, and I believe they are the first seed in the NFC. Could be corrected there, but I don't see the Saints catching them, Bucks, and especially not the Jets especially not the Rams after they just lost to the Jets. What about you? You see Green Bay, not only that, just not being the NFC favorites or just the 1-seed favorites, but really giving Kansas City a run for their money because it's pretty much, with how good Kansas City's been playing, they're set for the playoffs. Set for the Super Bowl.
I'm not sure if anyone's given Kansas City a run for their money this year, but Green Bay could be the team to do it. Their run games looked really good. You got Devontae Adams, and I think Lazard, he's doing pretty good. And Aaron Rodgers having an MVP candidate season. I don't know if he's going to win it. I'd love to see him win it. I think that would be great. But I think the Packers are going to have a pretty deep playoff run this year. And I think Rodgers is going to be hungry. He needs a couple wins under his belt in the playoffs. Maybe another Super Bowl if he can get there.
Yeah, it definitely be a great story because everyone thought Rodgers was done. I was pretty low on him coming into the season, and I ain't gonna mistake myself with that. But yeah, that's all for Week 15. Let's jump right into Week 16, starting off with Friday Night Football. I guess they just moved it back because it's Christmas. But Minnesota versus New Orleans. This is the scariest matchup New Orleans has ever had in their entire franchise's history. They just can't beat Minnesota. It's just factual. But this week they're going to do it. I feel like New Orleans is going to come out here. Minnesota, they're not going to have Eric Kendricks this week, which is pretty much the anchor for that defense. And when you go up against an offense like New Orleans, especially with Drew Brees back, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't bet on Minnesota. But another one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised Minnesota wins this. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I gotta take New Orleans because I think Michael Thomas returning or no?
No, Michael Thomas is done for the rest of the regular season.
Okay, well, I think I still gotta go with them because Michael Thomas, you could definitely see. I think they might have won that game with Michael Thomas against the Chiefs. He's such a big part of that offense, but You got Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, I think Kamara and Breeze are good enough to take this game over, and the defense is going to work really well against Minnesota, I feel like, and get to the quarterback with that weak O-line. I think New Orleans is going to finally beat Minnesota this week.
And then moving on to Saturday, there's actually good Saturday games here. We got Miami versus Las Vegas. We said this earlier. This is a big game for Las Vegas. This is pretty much going to be the matchmaker for their playoff hopes. So if Las Vegas wants to keep it in there, they would have to upset Miami, because I really like Miami going into this matchup. I'm going to go with Miami here. This would also be another big game for Tua, really, just to knock a team out of the playoffs and just really pretty much punch your ticket in for the playoffs as well. This would be a huge win for Tua. Also, it's kind of, we don't really know what's happening with Myles Gaskin. He was still on the COVID list last week, so I think he's going to come back. I mean, it's usually people don't stay on that list for more than 2 weeks, so I think they should be coming back. And if he is coming back, that is bad news for Las Vegas, because Gaskin is not a guy to sleep on. I can't go Las Vegas here, even though Mariota looked great, and it does look like either way, Carr, Mariota, I don't feel like they'll be able to have what it takes, especially with Las Vegas still missing out on Jonathan Abrams. Miami's got to have the win there.
I'm actually going to disagree with you right here. I'm going to take Las Vegas. Miami started off really slow against the Patriots, and I think the Raiders can maybe jump on that type of slow start and get ahead early. And then Sony Michel had a really good game against the Raiders. The Patriots' run game looked good. I mean, it is the Patriots, so that's basically the center of their offense. But the Raiders, I mean, their run game is basically the center of their offense too. And I mean, I think if you can get that firing, Miami didn't look too good at stopping it last week. I think Michel had like a 5 yards per carry or something good like that. But he looked really good. So I don't know. I'm feeling Las Vegas right here. They're gonna have something to play for, and I think they're gonna need to win. They do need to win this. So I think they all know that, and I think they're gonna come out firing and get ahead early, and then pound the rock the rest of the game.
All right, and then moving on to Sunday, if the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to play like those undefeated chumps that they thought they were, then they might put up a good fight against the Colts. But not anymore, buddy. No, Colts are going to win this game. If the Colts lose this game, I would be very surprised. Their defense is what people thought Pittsburgh's were, but Colts are the best defense in the league. I think I've convinced myself that they are the best defense in the league. And this Colts offense has looked fantastic ever since they've really relied on Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's been great for them. Phillip Rivers has looked better in the past few weeks. I don't see the Colts. I don't see a way that Pittsburgh comes out of this game against Cincinnati and is able to go up against a defense like the Colts. I just don't see it. Maybe Deontay decides to start catching passes. Who knows? But yeah, Colts are going to win this game. I would probably bet money that Colts would win this game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin has his ways. I mean, I'm sure he's fired up, but I got to pick the Colts here. You go from the Bengals, that bad of offensive performance, and then you're going against one of the best defenses in the league. It's just not going to transfer over well. They're going to have another slow start, and it's just going to be too late at halftime to come back.
Yeah, and then moving on, we got the Rams versus Seattle. Now, the opposite goes for the Rams here. I think the Rams squad is a little bit more legit than Pittsburgh, even though they just lost to the Jets. They're a little bit more legit than Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh fans wouldn't shut their mouths, but now they're doing that. Y'all better, I swear, if y'all are talking after this loss, I mean, I wouldn't understand it. But yeah, Rams-Seattle, this could be a very great game, or this could be, if Rams start to show up like they did against the Jets, Russell Wilson has a pretty good game here, but Rams have guys that lock down, they have a guy that locked down DK, which not a lot of other people did. Jalen Ramsey's played great for them, so I might go with a little bit of a hot hand here, but give me the Rams against Seattle.
This is a tough one to pick, man. I'm going to go with Seattle here, though. They looked pretty good in the past couple of games. I know they had that slow game versus the Giants, but I think they're going to come out. I mean, the Rams they're going to be fired up this week, especially after a loss to the Jets.
Yeah.
So it could go either way. I'm not too confident in saying Seattle, but I like to pick against Brett sometimes and see how it plays out.
All right, and then going into Sunday Night Football, we got Tennessee versus Green Bay. This is going to be a great game. Tennessee's defense is the only X factor here for Green Bay, and this is why I'm going to give Green Bay the edge. Green Bay has a guy named Jair Alexander who is a phenomenal cornerback. He has been a phenomenal cornerback this year. There's not really that one guy on Tennessee that can do it for them, and they've got Alan Lazard could have a great game alongside Devontae Adams, and not only that, they still can't stop the run, and anybody who can't stop the run, Aaron Jones is going to come right up your throat. That's how it's been all season for Green Bay. Tennessee, they still got a really good running back matchup for Derrick Henry. I mean, nobody can stop him. Good defense, great defense doesn't really matter for Derrick Henry. He's matchup proof. But I feel like Green Bay still has the edge here. I'm going Green Bay over Tennessee.
This is going to be a great game, and I'm very excited to see this. I'm going to go Green Bay, though. They're looking really good. Rodgers is looking amazing right now. I think they're just going to come out and kill that Tennessee defense, who has looked really shaky. I mean, they've been getting into shootouts where Tannehill saves them in the end, but that's not going to work against the Packers, in my opinion.
And then Monday Night Football. I feel like the Pats have had so many Monday Night Football games recently, but yeah, Bills versus Pats. Pats fans, there's no way you're winning this game against Buffalo. There's no way, especially after what Josh Allen just did to Denver. And what he's been doing all year. Stephon Diggs on another level. Devin Singletary finally looked good because he scored that touchdown on that fake handoff, and it got called back. That was nasty. Yeah, you're not winning this game. I'm sorry, you're not going to. And if you do, surprise to me. But Buffalo is way too good. They've already clinched the division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Yeah, so, I mean, do you see your Pats doing any damage?
I mean, I don't think there's any way. We might even fire up Stidham this week since we have no shot. I mean, we might even see what he has. I've heard some reports coming around that maybe he could play for the rest of the season just so they can see what he's got in case we don't have Cam next year and he's our only option. We can't get any of those free agents. So if Stidham's playing, then definitely we're not winning the game. Even if Cam playing, we're not winning this game, I don't think. We did put up a fight against the Bills last time they played, though. We would have won that if Cam didn't fumble inside of the red zone. I mean, we were coming down. We looked like we were going to win the game. But we're so bad right now. It's a sad year for Pats fans. I didn't wear my hoodie today. We're eliminated. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, but and also, did y'all just lose Stephon Gilmore?
Yeah, Gilmore is done for the year.
He's done for the rest of the season.
Pro Bowler somehow over J.C. Jackson, which I'm very disappointed about. That J.C. didn't make the Pro Bowl and Gilmore did after missing a quarter of the season.
Which I mean, Gilmore, he's obviously not going to stay on. They're obviously going to have to replace him with somebody because usually they do that in all type of All-Star games with injuries. So. Probably J.C. Jackson ends up getting his way into there.
So.
But yeah, it's definitely a rough week for Pats fans. Trust me, I've been through the pain before. But that's all for this week, or at least predictions for next week. We coming off a great week of football. Hopefully that can run right over. But yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow for fantasy. Make sure you like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on that notification bell, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Peace.